Welcome back to Ultimate Alchemy, and it's time to get a little bit further. In particular, we're heading for clay. We've now got the ability to get Draconium, which opens all of Draconic Evolution, which is great, and that's continually going. That was in the last episode. So we're going to carry on. We're going to need to get Nether Stars. The reason why is that Draconic Evolution requires them to make some of the more advanced stuff. So if we have a look in here, True Clay requires Chaotic Tier injectors. So if we have a look at those, are they injectors? Yeah. Chaotic Tier injectors. That needs Nether Stars, but that's okay because you need one Nether Star, you might think. Well, yeah, except that the injectors to make those require a few things. So Galgador is one of them, which I haven't even looked into yet. However, we need Chaotic Cores. Now, Chaotic Cores, Chaos Shards, we can get from Crushers through Bedrock, and we can make Bedrock, that's fine. But if you go into the earlier tiers, the Draconic Fusion stuff, you require Wyvern Cores, and Wyvern Cores need Nether Stars to make, and of course 4 Draconic Cores as well, and some Draconium, but Nether Stars. So we're probably going to have to build a way to create and destroy Withers. I don't want to fight them particularly very much. A few ways of doing that. One is a huge long shaft made out of blast material, and you create it at the top and it falls down. But I tend to prefer the sort of nice way of keeping the stuff that makes the wither quite far away from the stuff that kills the wither. Explosions, etc. So for that, there is a few options, and the ones that one option that I know of, and that's the dislocator stuff. So there is a dislocator receptacle, and that will form a portal. And the dislocators themselves. Now, these require Eyes of Ender, so we need a couple of those at least. And we need some blaze powder, some draconium dust. Let's see if I've got. I'm probably short of blaze powder. Yeah, I've got call it one blaze rod. That's okay. Let's just get some sticks, and we'll get the system to create them, I think. So let's go through here. I've created another floor. We'll come up to that in a second. Let's get rid of you. And what can we make with sticks? We can make blaze rods. And that will pretty much use up all the ignis we have. We've got 220 odd of it, but we will get blaze rods. They can, of course, be crunched straight away into blaze powder. So let's just take a look at that. Blaze rods. Let's get those out of there. This is an accelerated pulverizer, if I remember rightly. Did I accelerate it? Oh, I thought I did. It's going pretty fast anyway. It's already done. And blaze. There we go. So we can make these, and these, in a normal game, where there's an overworld, we would use these dislocator charms, they used to be called charms, but they're not anymore, to basically store locations so we can teleport to. We're not going to be using them like that. We're just going to be using them as a set destination for anything, really, but essentially the wither to actually go through. So let's just go through dislocator again. And here's a receptacle. We're going to need some draconium infused obsidian. Well, that's going to need a lot of blaze powder, obsidian, and draconium dust. And then we need something that's big enough for the wither to fall through. So if this is going to be, I want to say about 5x5 interior, which means 7x7 exterior. So that's 14 on one side, 19. 23 because I think it's 23, but 24 because we need to make one of these receptacles as well. So 24 of this. Well, let's see if we've got enough materials. I may run out. Yeah, I run out of blaze powder again. But that's okay. Got more blaze rods. And I just need the source of ignis to refill that, so that's not terribly hard. We'll have to come back to that later. However. So I want 8 more of these. There we go. And then dislocator. Yeah, I'm going to need a few of these. Let's just get 4 for now. So there's the receptacle. There is the rest of the surrounds for the frame. And then we got some bits and pieces. And of course we need the dislocator. The dislocator itself, I'm not going to worry. I've made 2 because I just want to test one. If we say that our fight is going to be, our wither killing is going to be out on this platform, I guess that sort of eliminates the need for Gaia Guardian fights, which I might want to do again. So maybe I should build another platform somewhere for this kind of thing. Yeah, why don't I do that? 1 second. Okay, so I made the frame over here. I did count correctly. And I bound a dislocator just by shift right clicking when I was over here somewhere. So if I go over here, for instance, and if I jump in, I will end up wherever I bound the pedestal to, or the dislocator to. Importantly, that means that I can separate the creation and destroying of the wither. And as such, I thought I'd make some dark iron bars. There are a couple of other blast resistant blocks you can try and get. Fused quartz is one of them. That's an option. Dark iron bars happens to be cheaper. I think the one that I tend to go for, and then I realise, or someone tells me in comments that it's far too expensive, is reinforced obsidian, which is witherproof, but it uses dark iron bars anyway, and grains of infinity, which is, bedrock or something. So let's start by just using dark iron bars, and we just need to surround this so that, it's not going to, the wither isn't going to try and escape or anything like that. It shouldn't do anyway, because it's basically going to fall straight down. But I don't want to chance it, and then we'll have to figure some way of actually spawning the wither, and that'll be some kind of block places, I imagine, or something along those lines. So let me carry on with this, and I will build it up a little bit, and we'll see where we get to. Now, I was set on using these auto places. You can set them to pulse mode. However, they don't attach at the back to our typical redstone conduit, so I'm pretty much going to have to get rid of those. I was set on using them as well. So I'm just creating a frame here for this to hopefully work. Well, that's gone into the portal. And then we'll just put the rest of these here. Okay, so if we set, for example, place block, right click, upper left slot only, and we'll do that with the others. So place block, right click, upper left slot only. Okay, and we'll have it so that it only turns on with redstone, like that. Okay, then we will, I want to make sure I don't actually, make sure I don't have too much in there that I want to have around. Let's just put a couple of these in and put one there. So if I then hook up a lever, if I could just put a lever there, that will actually be fine. Each of these, will you actually place without me making any changes now? You will, but only on the ones connected to this. So this isn't actually, this isn't actually an output. So if we do output that way, I don't really want these as inputs, just outputs will be fine. However, that one's now disconnected. I could go and get a wrench, but it's just easier just to break this for a second. There we go. All right, so input and output, and then just change that so it's off. And then we will just, actually, that's changed. Is my lever, that's why, the lever's on, that's fine. So if I break these, for argument's sake, and they don't drop down, which is very, very nice. Right now, because the lever's on, it keeps on trying to place a new one down. Okay, we've got to think about how that happens. We probably want that on a timer. Whoop. Yeah, on that part definitely still works. So if I go down here, and let's just reload these things. 1, 2, 3. Well, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and well, that's already got them. If I just flip this and flip it back again quickly, yeah, that'll form the base of the wither skeleton. Now, the test is whether we can form the rest of it, particularly whether they can actually place the skulls. So if I just go in here, skull, and I'm specifically not going to put all 3 in here. I don't want this happening while I'm testing. Nope. So let's just set this again. What option do we have? Use item on block, maybe. Let's try that one, and that actually already triggered. So we know that's the right one straight away. So use item on block, use item on block. Oops. Use item on block, and then redstone on, redstone on, redstone on, and probably upper left slot only as well. Yeah, so we can fill the rest of these just so that it doesn't fill up anywhere else with stone or really cobblestone or anything else. So we've basically only got one slot, and I'll do the rest of that off camera. And then once some signal, I'll probably use, I've got some of these redstone receivers, and I've got a transmitter somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So if I just get this as a redstone receiver, and let's just use this channel 1-1. And with these, you don't really have a screwdriver or anything to rotate these. I think they used to be like that, but let's just right click over there. You'll see it's outputting to the right, and this is channel 1. So I've got the transmitter, and if I right click it, the channel is set to 1 on both of them. So then I can go and place this wherever, argument's sake here, and we can put a lever, presumably here. And if I just remove some of this, there we go, and just flip the switch. There we go. So it will work fine remotely from wherever I want. So what I may then do is set up a timer so that it doesn't try and trigger wither skeletons too quickly. So if we just go back over here and have a look at RF tools, do we have an option for a timer of any kind? Here are the various different things. I want not the machine base, they're down here. So timer, yes. We can make one of those relatively easily with a clock, as you might expect. And there we go. So the timer, redstone pulse after a certain amount of time, unless it receives a redstone pulse itself before then. Fine, so if I will head over here for a second, and we will just put this down here. And we need to make sure it's pointing into the right way, so we need to point towards that block. There we go. And delay, let's set it to, that'll be like 10 seconds, 200? Or maybe 100 seconds. 10 seconds. For testing, I'm going to set it to 400, so 20 seconds like that. And that is fine. Will, however, you start? Are you starting? Have you stopped now? I need to stop, not pulse. Let me just make sure. Let me just put an, oh, there is another block in there already. So that should, if that's set as an output already, it may not be set as an output, it's not. If this is active, it is active. So I need to some way to interrupt that, of that not to take place. So it did say something about, what was it now? Timer. Emits a redstone pulse after a certain amount of time, unless it receives a redstone pulse itself before then. That's weird, but okay. Okay, what seems to me to be needless complexity, maybe someone can say there's an easier option to this, but it works. We have the transmitter with the timer pointing at it, and the timer is being reset by a sequencer, and the sequencer can be controlled by a lever, unlike it seems the timer. So in the sequencer, I've just put basically 0 and enabled, or 0, 1. Set this to loop 3, which loops it when the redstone signal is present. You may be able to set that to something else, but I think loop 3 is fine, yeah. Delay 10 ticks, essentially, so every half second. We could change that something much longer than that. Sequence length is 2, right, so I'm going to deal with these two. So basically when I turn this on, it's going to emit a 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, just like a redstone block. Redstone timer, is that in here still? Redstone clock. Clock, let's just look for clock. Yeah, so we could use a redstone clock as well, would work perfectly well. This just means I can hide it with a switch rather than anything else. I can turn it on and off. And as long as this switch is on, then that thing will not start up. However, when it turns off, this will stop emitting pulses. This thing will start ticking down. When it hits 20 seconds, which should happen pretty quickly, obviously, that will then send a pulse through to the transmitter, which should assemble a wither. On cue, 100, 50, and any timer right now. There we go. And you haven't actually assembled a top because I haven't set these as output probably yet. Yeah, they're all still set to input. So if we just set to output red, output red, output red. And we can just take off the inputs of these as well. And now it would, yeah, there we go. See, it assembled just fine. And we're getting that pulse through from there. So pretty good. That seems to work so far. And we'll see what happens when, in fact, that's ticking down again. Let me just remove that block. Okay, and let me just grab this back. Just make sure this is actually working as I expect. I'll put a blocks back there. That should put both of them down. What I'm trying to make sure is that you can pull the skulls down just fine, as well as the soul sand blocks. So let's just see how long it's got left. Very, very shortly now. No, that's not right. That's not right at all. Place block, left slot only, yeah. So I do need it a little bit more mend. I either need to basically delay these top ones, which is possible, or I need to figure out another option for it to place blocks down. Maybe I need to choose one of the other options. Let me have a little bit of a play and let's see if we can fix it as is. And the mechanical users just won't do it reliably. I tried a number of different things. I tried putting them on top, facing down. No, they will still try and place it on top of this block if it isn't fast enough to get placed by this. Now, it should be fast enough, I suppose. But just in case I switch them with dispensers, these will work. Let's just grab that and put it there. You'll see as it comes around again, I've emptied this one so it doesn't have any supplies. And this one will get fed just with the same redstone signal as the rest. And you'll see it can't actually dispense the item. So it won't dispense the item. And if we go then and put this back in, you should see that the soul sand will get filled. And so will the skull on top of it, which is exactly what we need. Of course, once those are all filled, they will get created, it will drop down, and then it will arrive on this platform with nothing to kill it. There we go. See? Works fine. All right, so I can fill in the rest of this now with, well, replace the stone essentially with iron bars and maybe make one reinforced obsidian there just to put this receiver on. But other than that, I think we're pretty much done. As far as the killing side's concerned, since we've got Draconic Evolution, it seems like a mob grinder should be a good thing to go for. We need a couple of diamond swords. Let's grab those, and then that is done. And I can never remember which way around that goes, but we'll see about that shortly, I suppose. Do we need anything else? I don't think we do. Just some way of picking up items and plenty of power. So we're going to need a flux point of some kind. There we go. And some way of picking up items. Item collector. Well, there's an item collector from Draconic Evolution. Oh, no, that's not an item collector. Why are you saying collector? Why would you even get picked up? Oh, maybe it just says items in it. Okay, I'll need to go and pick up something that will do that job, but we'll come back in a second. Yes, I know there are people probably shouting me in the comments right now. I did eventually notice there is an option saying pause while redstone active in the timer block. Yep, me stupid, as usual. And that's pause while redstone active. So all I need to do is just move this up by one, I think, and then we should be fine. Let's just do that. It's ticking down. It's not ticking down. Yeah, no need for a sequencer. Okay, on to the killing. So why don't we test this? The cage isn't complete yet, and it's only got an obsidian floor, so if it breaks out, it doesn't matter much. We can replace all this, of course. So the skull is pointing on the inside. And then I've got a range collector. I couldn't find an item collector, sadly. And that is just feeding straight back into our system. So anything dropped, hopefully, should get picked up. If the wither comes after me, hey, it's no big deal. I have my various empowered armor and weapons. So, well, just weapons, really. So why don't we just put one in each of these dispensers. Then there we go. And why don't we run it? So, yeah, that's 400. Let's just change that to 200. Just so it's a little bit faster, and enable. All right, do I need to fight this thing? We'll see. So that's ticking down now, 95, 80, 70, 60, etc. Should assemble. Down it goes. Off it goes. And as soon as that actually finishes or is enabled or able to be fought, hopefully that mob grinder will be able to fight it. Let's see. Okay, and it's dead. Didn't blast through the floor, but the range collector did not collect the stuff. Does that need to actually be configured? Redstone mode deactivation. Let's actually go and maybe move that underneath if it can get closer. We need it's just somewhere that it can pick up the loot, but it's already working, so that's a good sign. Redstone torch. All right, and let's just actually move it and let's see if it actually picks stuff up. Or indeed, let's try just using the redstone torch. What options does it have? Just pulsar deactivation. Okay, so if I... this is a sword. Where's my... there's my AIT. If I just take you out for a second, I have to put you underneath. I don't necessarily want this... no, well, this shouldn't need to be exact, but let's try and put it just around about there. Ah, it's got options. Okay, whitelist. An empty blacklist can be used to let all items through. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna put it exactly where it was. Okay, let's move it back. There we go. And we got the nether star anyway, but that's no big deal. So we can put it back there, and it's set to blacklist. That can go in there, and off it'll go into our system. We don't have a collector for the XP, however, so we may want to think about that, unless this range collector can also deal with that. Metadata, MBT, or dictionary mod mode. No. So maybe we want an XP collector. We can worry about that later. This thing is pretty much working. So all we need to do is really supply this thing with however many skulls we need. We could start an automatic distribution, but we shouldn't need enough of that it's going to be that much of a problem. The wither skeleton skulls, on the other hand, wither skulls, and the soul sand. The wither skeleton skulls, remember, we got from pouring in industrial grade evil on top of a skeleton skull. I wonder if we can use fluid transposer. We can. And this industrial grade evil is, of course, just smelting one of these. So it's a quarter of a bucket per one. And we need how much? 4. So we need 4 of that stuff. So let's just see how many we've got. Evil, we've got lots. Okay, so 4, or divide by 4 essentially. So there's enough for 10. And we can think about, we need actually the skeleton skulls themselves. They can be made from a bone block, which is made from bone meal. But yeah, I don't have too many more of those. I'm going to think of maybe a way to automate that. And in fact, I did automate it, but I automated it using, well, the flax. The flax seeds produce string. I put that into wool, if you remember, down here. The wool gets put into a crusher and goes around and sometimes produces bone meal, but just not enough of it. So even though it produces flux, this is far more reliable a method for producing string. And as you can see in here, it's got a lot of stuff that it's distributing outwards right now. And on this side, it's actually producing bones on this side. So we can then take the bones. Let's just say we take all of those for now, because it'll have a delayed effect. And what's the easiest way of, well, what is the most efficient way? We don't want to craft it. We probably want to pulverize it. Yeah, that produces 6. So that will produce nearly a full stack for 10 bones. And that we can then turn around into bone blocks whenever we need them. And then chisel those into skeleton skulls. We can then put those in, let's say here, fluid transposer. And skeletons, it's already set to export from our smeltery. So then we can just put in 40 drops of evil. That should be enough for 10. But they should all already be pouring out of here. They are. And of course, out comes our wither skeleton skulls. And you've seen we've already produced soul sand just fine as well. So whenever we need withers, we can actually do that now, which is good. And I don't have to actually fight them, which is even better. Because it takes a little bit of time, and it's always a little bit risky, even with overpowered stuff. And with our semi-automated, apart from distributing parts to the generator, we have the ability, with the killer, we have the ability to then make various bits and pieces, like, for example, a wyvern core. So if you want a wyvern core, and we will be needing them, we can just make one, and we're done. So good. That is then used in, of course, the injectors. So if we have a look at the injector recipe again, let's just get those up. Injector. Basic one is fine. We can just use draconic cores. And we're going to need, how many do we need for the clay? We need 9 for the clay. 9 injectors, so that means we need pretty much 9 diamonds plus all of this stuff. So why don't we just see if we can make some of those. 9. And we're going to make 2 because I'm out of diamonds. I need to also make more diamonds. Next tier up, we need then wyvern cores. So we're going to need 9 of those. 9 withers. Draconian blocks, diamonds, more diamonds. No big problem getting to that tier, I don't think. Energy cost is there, but we can make it more energy if we need it. Third tier is the same again, apart from awakened draconium, which we're going to need to make from dragon heart, which is just iron and gold. Draconium and gold. So that should be doable as well. And then we've got the chaotic cores. The dragon eggs we already know we can make. You just make egg yolk and make an egg that way. Lump of Galgador we're going to have to come back to. Chaotic core, however, that means a chaos shard and some other bits and pieces that we can already make. Yep, we can already make this kind of stuff. Chaos shards then is from pulverizing bedrock. Now bedrock, I've got 21 in the inventory. How have we got that? Well, over here, I set up a new approach, just like a new setup. All it basically is 4 of these mechanical crafters, and they're just producing cobblestone. Yeah, or rather compressed cobblestone. All 4 of those compressed cobblestone is being pulled into this one, which is producing double compressed cobblestone, triple, quadruple, straight into a furnace, and in the furnace goes into the system. So you need quadruple compressed cobblestone smelted to get bedrock. And of course you can use bedrock to, well, you could use it for your wither cage if you wanted to, I suppose, but we're going to be using it for other stuff, so we can then use it for bedrock bricks. Don't think I need those, but if we pulverize it, we can make chaos shards. So let's just get some bedrock. And let's just put 12 through, why not? And we'll put all that in the pulverizer. That should make chaos shards. There we go. We've got 24 available. So I think next episode we should be getting pretty close, if not all the way to clay. So this has been the penultimate episode, just automating withers. I will sort of get some way of filtering stuff into those various mechanical users and dispensers between the episodes. And next episode we'll come back for, I think, the end of this pack, the challenge pack. So this is a good point for me to ask all of you, if any of you are still watching, do you want to see me play another modded Minecraft pack? If so, which one? There's a few coming up. Project Ozone 3, I've done Project Ozone 2 in the past, and that's also on the channel. Project Ozone 3 is currently in closed beta. I don't have access to it yet. And there's also Enigmatica, and that has an expert mode, so that is capable of, well, frustrating me. So Project Ozone 3 will probably have an expert mode as well. So those are 2 options. And of course there are other ones around, so if you've got any ideas there, do put them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, share, like as you normally would. And we'll see you next episode for some more, well, maybe our last episode of Ultimate Alchemy. As always, guys, thanks for watching.